something about Easy Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you everyone for joining this morning, and this class just popped up rather quickly, so I'm going to get the book here. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So the reading today is Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 9, The Lord pacifies Lord Nrsimhadev with prayers. Text 34. Tat sambhava kaviratanad yad apasya manas tvam bijamatmani tatam sabihir vichincha navinadad abda sattam apsunima jamano jaten kure katam upalabeta vijam tat sambhava kaviratanad apasyanas. Tvam bijamatmani tatam sabihir vichincha navinda abda satam apsu nimajamano tate nukure gatam upalabheta bijam. So I'll wait. If anybody wants to recite the verse, please feel free.
Tatsambhava Kavirato Tatsambhava Kaviraton Nyat Apasyamanas Svam Bijam Atmani Tatam Sabihir Achintya Navindad Abda Shatam Apsu Nirmajamano Jatem Gure Katam Ho Bhalabeta Bijam.
Anybody else?
Tatsambhava kavirato nyarapashyamanas Tvam bijam atmani tatam sabahir vichantya Navindadabda shatamapsu nimajamano Jaten kure katamuho palabheta bijam.
Translation by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. From that great lotus flower, Brahma was generated, but Brahma certainly could see nothing but the lotus. Therefore, thinking you to be outside, and Lord Brahma dove into the water and attempted to find the source of the lotus for 100 years. He could find no trace of you. However, from when a seed fructifies, the original seed cannot be seen. Purport. This is a description of the cosmic manifestation. The development of the cosmic manifestation is like the fructification of a seed. When cotton is transformed into thread, the cotton is no longer visible, and when the thread is woven into cloth, the thread is no longer visible. Similarly, it is perfectly correct that when the seed that had generated from the navel of Agarbhadakshaya Vishnu became manifested in this cosmic creation, one could no longer understand where the cause of the cosmic manifestation is. Modern scientists have tried to explain the origin of creation by a chunk theory, but no one can explain how such a chunk might have burst. The Vedic literature, however, explains clearly that the total material energy was agitated by the three modes of material nature because of the glance of the Supreme Lord. In other words, in terms of the chunk theory, the bursting of the chunk was caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, one must accept the Supreme Cause, Lord Vishnu, as the cause of all causes. I'll read the translation again. From that great lotus flower, Brahma was generated, but Brahma certainly could see nothing but the lotus. Therefore, thinking you to be outside, Lord Brahma dove into the water and attempted to find the source of the lotus for 100 years. He could find no trace of you, however, for when a seed fructifies, the original seed cannot be seen. Krishna Sai Buddheshwar Bhakti Vinita Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Glory Namaste Sunya Vali Pasachas. I'd like to offer my spiritual obeisances to my divine spiritual master Shri Bhaskar Swami. We have the Srila Prabhupada, Sri Bhaktivinoda Swami, Srila Prabhupada, and Jagat Guru has given us amazing translations, amazing Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, and so much literature for us to understand what's going on out there. So this verse is really interesting. There's so much to take, that domino effect of so many different directions to go. It's just so nice. So what immediately came up for me was it's a correlation, but it's pretty watered down. This is the same description in a different lineage. This is from Genesis. Genesis 1 is pretty interesting. This is the first 10 verses of Genesis 1. This is their description. This is how they're describing the entire devastation, where the Bhagavatam is just explosive with Ganga Dakshaya Vishnu, Karana Dakshaya Vishnu, Shira Dakshaya Vishnu. It's so detailed. It's absolutely stunning what Prabhupada has given us, and it's just, I mean, the whole lineage of the sessions of squeezing and condensing. It's the most amazing understanding that, I mean, not to get puffed up or anything, but just unfortunately, nobody has access to the degree that the Prabhupada has given in the Vedic conclusions of the material world, the spiritual world, everything in between. I mean, it just always just astounds me how intense it is. So this is Genesis. This is the creation of everything in 10 days, 10 chapters and 10 verses. Excuse me. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. I mean, any devotee, if you start reading this, it's like we got details on this. It's not just such a vague, impersonal concept. Anyway, God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. And God said, and this is very interesting, "Let there be an expanse in the," and we can understand as soon as we hear this, "in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." They have no idea what that means right there. I mean, that's verse 6. Let there be expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters. That's it, And God made the expanse and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse. And it was so. I'm sorry. It just amuses me because I was raised Christian, and I read this nowadays. It's like, oh my gosh, such vagueness. And it was so, and God called the expanse heaven, and there was evening, and there was morning, and the second day. And it just kind of goes on about when, one more. Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. So we have such details from what Prabhupada has given on all this, just no speculation. I mean, it's just so solid. It's outstanding. I'm always blown away. Even in Hawaii, like in the Hawaiians, when they came from Marquesas Islands, they brought their culture from with them, and of course, their original roots is from the Vedas. They have similar words and a lot of aspects. Um, but they have a boar incarnation pastime in their tradition. How it's changed, but we can see is this all these different traditions that Krishna has put out so nicely to attract all of us in different degrees where we can be attracted to. The same pastimes are there. It's just sometimes they're not so detailed. Uh, I know, like in 725, I remember that's that really nice. It's such a powerful verse about the one about I'm never manifested foolish and unintelligent. And for them, covered, that verse right there, the eternal potency. It's really amazes me how, for some reason, the devotees are being access and being given access to this amazing assets. We just have to read it, like Tarka Prabhu and Ananta, and so many devotees. Probably always manifest. It was so very nicely, but hammered it. Read the books, study the books. We'll understand everything. And of course, again, you have to read the books and striving to the mode of goodness. So it's not for any spiritual, grandizement or fame, avarice, and distinction followers learning all the Shastra and scriptures, because if we miss the point, because we're not humble and you know, then what's the point? Really, we have our head full of stuff, but it's just it's just amazes me. I just reading this verse just brought out so much. Like how Krishna comes in this so-called human-like form that devotees we can understand it as we read it. Even in our Kinestadakari level, we can, and those sub-levels underneath that, we can understand remotely what Srila Prabhupada has given us, and it just sets us apart, unfortunately, from the rest of the planet, because the scientists, they're bewildered. They have no idea, and the chunk theory and the string theory, and it's like, I remember when I was a kid, it was like, I never understood what this whole Big Bang Theory is. It's like, where did even when I was a kid, I was like, well, where did the ingredients come that exploded and what ignited the explosion? And it just didn't make sense to me. In my path, the tradition at the time, it was, well, just have faith in Jesus and it'll be revealed. It's like, well, yeah, but that doesn't work. I need more than faith. And there's different types of faith, as we know, this kind of devotee. But how Yoga Maya just does her thing. She smoke screens us and she can attract us or she can repel us from Mahamaya. So the whole planet, like in 725, is people just we don't know until we approach, you know, with humility, the key. And when we approach is understand what Srila Prabhupada has given us, and when we approach through service, with the proper mindset, a lot of goodness at least. These things are starting to become revealed. Like even Lord Brahma here, it took him 100 years. He dove into the water and still didn't find it. I still didn't find it. So for some reason, we're given this path that's been condensed, it's been squeezed, that's been the Vedas have been just compiling. Maybe Vyasa was just now Prabhupada is in the succession, especially in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, it's just condensing all that into a few drops of just unbelievable nectar. And I was hearing that discourse recently, and just remind me of the same thing that Prabhupada always said about the paintings. The paintings were the pictures were the windows to the spiritual world. That all we have here, they're windows to the spiritual world. And they really are. We just have to really drop in and realize that. Like the plays that we do, devotees perform. I know in Vrindavan, they'll have these plays during Janmashtami, for example, where all the sadhus will come to the play, and they'll have an 8-year-old boy who will represent Krishna, and Radharani usually it's a boy too, but when they really get into it, um, the understanding is that Krishna actually will come and is here, present right now through this 8-year-old boy acting out this pastime, which is really like, it really is that. And I didn't realize that. I read about it, but, even with these plays that happen in Vrindavan with the Rajbasis, they'll do a puja at the end honoring the actors. but they know that it's not really actors. It actually is Krishna. It actually is Radharani, and the gopis are present through these, mediums that the foot water, for example, they'll bathe the feet of Krishna, and the sadhus will scramble to that foot for that foot water to take it to grab it because they know it's Krishna, not just that boy. And things like that. They have they have realization. It's not inspiration, but realizations that Krishna is present here. Um, we have Krishna book that I was in San Diego. I started in San Diego, and we are so fortunate at the time. I was thinking about it last night that when I was there, I got to serve breakfast every morning to the devotees that were there. And I didn't really realize it at the time how significant it was. But I'm just going to mention who was there. The heavy hitters, the sweet heavy hitters of ISKCON were present there. We had Mukunda Maharaj. There were a big line of devotees. We had Mukunda Maharaj, Sadhuputta Maharaj, um, Dharmas, his name, Dharmaseti was there. Vaikuntha was there. Sridhar Swami was there in line. Um, uh, Judah Karma was there. We had, just was on the list was so amazing. Oh, Gunagrahi Maharaj was there. All the sannyasis were taking shelter of that temple for some reason when I was there. So I experienced that. There's a few more that were there. It was just unbelievable. So the classes were just like off the chart, especially when Sadhuputta would start getting going. Anybody that spent time with Sadhuputta, it was always such an amazing class and it's so deep, way beyond my concept. Even this day it's still way beyond, but at the time it was absolutely off the charts. But we have this Bhagavatams, we have the Gita, revealing so much. As when I was talking to my wife last night, Sanjaya, in the beginning of the Gita, he's given the opportunity. Krishna's so kind. Of course, it's an eternal pastime, right? But he was given the opportunity to show Dhritarashtra what's going on in the battlefield. And it amazes me still to this day that, you know, Krishna's allowing, Yoga Maya is allowing this pastime to be seen directly, but yet there's still that Maya influence of, Sanjaya didn't surrender, Dhritarashtra didn't surrender. They just were watching like this movie projector going on. But it's really it's just so amazing that these pastimes that we have here. You just have to just like these books that are here. There was somebody here yesterday. It was actually the woman who brought that big flower that's on the altar today. It's so beautiful, that flower, the dahlia. He was reading Krishna book and he was so absorbed. But we have the Krishna book. We have these different big books here, these countertop, tabletop books that when you open them up, it's like we're so fortunate to be able to have these pastimes, right? We're actually in those pastimes if we really see it for what it is. Um, it all comes down to everything that we've read, everything that we do, all the service we do, if it's in the right mindset, in the mode of goodness, everything is revealed. The prophet says that time and time and time and time again, it's revealed. We don't have to be like Lord Brahma, we're just guessing, not really knowing what's happening. Don't have to speculate about these theories anymore. And my prophet says that right here, the Vedic literature, however, explains clearly that the total material energy was agitated by the three modes of material nature. So we know that three modes are always agitating. They have to be. It also creates polarity, in relationships, and it all comes down to that shikshastakam. I always thought really just it filters into that. That Lord Chaitanya gives us what he gave. That's the key right there. How Krishna consciousness is really studying. It's so recommended to just study your Shastika prayers and imbibe that mood and bring it into your heart so we can really understand what's going on. Because those verses right there, we'll understand everything, everything. Even taking one verse, if it's read with some kind of drop of humility, humbleness. Like even Lord Jesus said, the meek and humble shall inherit the earth. So we know it's the same. It's the same program. So this reminds me of these pastimes that we hear about and we read about. And Krishna book, what we used to do in San Diego, I kind of got at that point with all the devotees there, somebody during breakfast would always read Krishna book. So we're honoring Prasadam. Nobody's talking, but we're hearing Krishna book and absorbing these pastimes. One pastime, favorite pastime, is it's so nice, such a nice description. It's that wrestling pastime where, for those who don't remember it or have never read it, so Krishna's walking. I don't know what age he was. He was young enough, but he hadn't left. He's walking then, obviously. He's walking through the woods and he's smiling to himself and kind of chuckling. And one of the gopis is nearby and she comes up to him and says, "Well, what are you so smiling about?" And he's chuckling. He says, "Oh, I was just thinking how he was kind of like glorifying, thinking about the pastimes. Yes, I've beaten up, I killed all these demons in the village, and I'm just like, it's hot stuff, and then he's smiling. And he's had such an enjoyable experience with his pastimes. So the gopi says, "Oh, well, I don't know. I know there's somebody that you can't defeat. There's somebody that you can't defeat." Jai, Krishna. And he says, "I'll tell you, I'll challenge you. I'll challenge you. Let's meet tomorrow, same place, same time, and I'll bring my wrestler. And it's a girl. She'll beat you. She'll beat you." So he's like, "Okay, bring it on. Let's meet." So they met the next day. And the gopis had come and I always forget that term. I wish my wife was here. Is it Ranguli? Janesha, if you're listening, is it Ranguli where they do it's the painting, the sand painting, color paintings on the ground.
Rangoli? Rangoli.
Huh?
Rangoli. It's a Rangoli.
Rangoli, thank you. So they made this whole arena. There's a banyan tree next to it, and there's this beautiful arena they're taking the time. And this is the wrestling arena that they're going to step into. And meanwhile, they're separated. Krishna, and he's like, "All right, champ, he's giving, he's getting them all riled up, "All right, we're gonna defeat, we're gonna win here." And they don't see Sumatra Radharani. Radharani is behind this veil of the willows in the banyan tree, so they can't see each other. So Krishna's getting pumped, Madhu's pumping him, and, sting like a bee and dance like a butterfly, like Muhammad Ali used to say, kind of thing, and getting everything riled up and then all of a sudden this breeze comes from and comes by Srimad Radharani's face and it blows towards Krishna like a heat-seeking missile. Remember those missiles, like in our wartime? This just went right to Krishna, and it hit him in the nose. He was like, "Oh," Krishna got a little taken back. Something's starting to happen here, and Mario Mondo's like, pumping them up and they're going over the rules and regulations, the first one out of the circle wins, and you can't hit below the belt. There's all these rules of the wrestling battle that's going to happen here. So they're about to, get started and Sumatra just kind of, one of the gopis parts just a little bit of that veil of the banyan tree. It's almost like a willow. It's just long, a little curtain. And Krishna sees the side of her face, and now he's starting to get a little shaky. Something's going on here, He still can't, and Radharani still has not looked at him directly. It's just all he can see is Krishna can see her veil on her face and covering her face is moving from the breath, just from the breath. She still can't see her. So then they come closer, and as Radharani turns, just briefly turns, one eye is looks at Krishna. And Krishna's getting a little wobbly at this point. And Madhamangal's commenting, he's like, "Champ, what's going on here?" And Krishna says, "I'm good, I'm okay." But it's not okay. Things are happening, He's starting to shake a little more. He's wobbling. And then she looks at him, Krishna, with just that eyebrow. And it was just a knockout. And Krishna's like, falling backwards, and Madhamanga's like, "Oh, chill," he's falling backwards, slow motion, poof, and the dust goes everywhere. Krishna got defeated just by an eyebrow or the breath. The first was just the breeze bringing the sense of Srimad Radharani. And that description right there is so wonderful. I mean, you don't have that. Blessed of all the scriptures of planet. You don't have that anywhere. I think it's hinted once in the New Testament. Once and I know we have some New Testament experts here. There's that one where it's hinted that the greatest, deepest relationship you can have with thy father is to be a bride. You really can help me on the exact one. I don't know where that is, but I've read it many times. So they're hinting a little bit. Even Solomon, it's interesting. Even in the Judaic, Old Testament, you've got Solomon, right? Solomon. There's a description. Maybe you've heard this before. It's a poem. It's a poem by Solomon, and it talks about. It's a song. It's a song about the dark complexioned one and meeting his beloved in the forest. And this light skinned one, his lover. And this is in Psalm, Old Testament. So they're talking about it. Of course, that was kind of taken out. I think it's part of the Apocryphy, right? And where so much stuff's been taken out because it just didn't jive with the religions at the time and so-called Christianity. So much wonderful things were taken out or added and watered down and constricted, and this kind of nonsense. But it's interesting how we've got these pastimes that just. And Prabhupada always says to us, he reminds us, read these pastimes, because what'll happen is we'll actually enter by really by Yoga Maya's grace. Now Yoga Maya will, instead of concealing Maya conceals, Yoga Maya reveals. It'll be revealed as pastimes we can actually step into while we're here on this planet. And it's just the key is just be of service in an humble state of mind. It's such a simple process, like Prabhupada always said. It's so simple for the simple, for the difficult. And here we are when we're doing our thing here. And it just comes down to our relationships. It all comes from Radha and Krishna. That's the origin of all relationships. It's personalists. And we want to definitely get beyond the impersonal concepts that plague us for millions of lifetimes. For the Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma realization. It's like we're not interested. Let's just be of service. And if we really love Krishna, then we love his devotees, like he says. Means we have to be respectful of each other. We don't have to. We have to agree. We can agree to not disagree. you know, you can agree to that. That's okay. To like everybody in devotional life, but we have to respect and care for that person. And that's when it comes from we see it back in the spiritual roots of Chandravali and Radharani here. They're not getting along, but they're still getting along. So kind of like that. Oh, there's a saying I've heard. I like to use it. It's pretty nice. It's an OCD. You have OCD with all these mental disorders going on in this age. They've confined it and labeled it, and so I heard somebody mention OCD that it's like everything in our lives. If they're governed by the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness, everything's here. And greater or lesser degrees, we've read up to 81 of those 3 degrees. Those 3 modes can be intertwined, but it all comes down to our exchange. What kind of mood are they in? But there's opinions, part of the OCD opinions. If the mode of ignorance or passion, then it debilitates us. You see a mad elephant offense is there, isn't it? It just kills it. As soon as we have an opinion, we feel that we have the need to express ourselves, which is fine. But if we express ourselves in the mode of goodness, then it uplifts everybody who listens and hears. If we hear Granya Kata, it's true. Like Jayananda, he would walk away. Anybody remembers those pastimes? He would just walk away. He didn't want to hear it. He didn't want that seed in his heart, the gossip, someone complaining about, management, and someone's complaining about this, and prasadam's not good enough, or, whatever we all tend to do. It's just, it's a squasher of our truth. It's a good reminder. So let's just try to be in the mode of goodness and exchange with each other. So if we don't, we stay in that mode of ignorance and passion, mixture of a little goodness too, but we have our opinions. It leads to criticizing, And it's just that C of the OCD. And if we don't stop and check it there, thinking, willing, and feeling, if we don't stop it there, then it leads to the D. The big D is, I've changed a little bit. To me, it's like dysfunctional devotee syndrome, DDS. We get very dysfunctional. Like we mean well, we're doing service, we're going through the motions, we're studying the Shastras, we're chanting Hare Krishna, but yet our hearts are not melting if we're not doing what the Shikshastikas recommend, that tells us if we're not in tears. I mean, we're not shedding a tear in this temple room, not to be sentimental, but we're shedding a tear during japa. Really, if we realize the name is not different, let's have tears. Or serving one another, it's not different. We should be in tears. And if we're not, we got some issues. We got this OCD is kicked in. And the problem is it stymies our consciousness and riveting us to the Kanista platform. Within the Kanista level, there's so many different sub levels there that we fall into. And, we just begin to even once criticize or fault find anybody, and I'm guilty of anything like that. It's constant. We just lost it. I mean, not even on the beginning Kanista platform, we've fallen. Every fiber, every atom is affected by it, our attitude and, our offenses and stuff. So I think I'm going to stop there. If anybody has any questions, I'm just going to read the translation one more time. But the takeaway from me from Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport was multiple level, but it wasn't easy for Lord Brahma. He spent 100 years searching. He didn't find it. So we don't have a chance unless we take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and his teachings and his writings, and then the relationships with one another. That's the fruit. How are we together? Are we cooperating? He said very simple. If you love me, you'll cooperate. Are we cooperating as devotees in this chapter, in this sangha here? Are we cooperating now? Because I know we always talk about community. Community is also like everything affected by ignorance, passion, and goodness and mixtures. In Alachua, you've been to Alachua before? Their community is quite interesting. It's like we hear the range between 3,000 and 4,000 devotees there. When we lived there, we were there for 6 years in that area. 3 or 4 hours away, but we go like once a month to the Sunday feast, and there's always new families coming. People from not really moving down, moving down in LA. There's so many people. We were there. I was there for a seminar, and this one seminar was about devotee relationships in Alachua. So they all met, like the entire community met. I mean, there was a lot of people. It was they rented a women's hall in town. I think there's like maybe 800 people there. And somebody just out of the heaven said, raise your hand if you're a Prabhupada disciple. There's 250 Prabhupada disciples in that room. So right now there's 400 Prabhupada disciples in Alachua. That's the most Prabhupada disciples, Srila Prabhupada disciples anywhere in existence. Anyone. There's, here we have what, 3, 4, something like that. So maybe pushing the envelope. 2? Oh, I'm being positive. Yeah, okay. I know there's some that maybe don't even come around anymore, that don't even probably chant anymore, but I know they're here in that White House down the road. I want to look at it, see what that is. Used to be Little Ananda's home, I believe. Anyway, there's 4, there's 4. So anyway, yeah, communities, their community, it's happening here. It's nice. They've had another community here has had a little bit of, you know, little things happen. Down there, everybody can fight for the DD dressing, for example. The temple president, Mukya, Mother Mukya, she'll real every day who dresses. And there's like, what, 12, 13, 14 people sometimes dress. On a festival day, the list is she has to read a list. Even in the daily, every day she'll make announcements and she'll read the list. And there'll be like, you know, there's 2 sets of going Thai, of course, and there's this and that stuff. But it'll take so many, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people just doing the Deity worship. I mean, dressing, just the dressing. So everyone is there, the community there, they got it. They figured it out. That's community in the mode of goodness is that the congregation, there's so many grahastas. like here to our grahastas that like you come here and the different devotees come and cook on Sunday and Saturday, you know, from Harrisburg you come to Puja on Sunday and State College with the wonderful devotees there. They come and the more the congregation comes and brings to the temple is the center. It's Prabhupada's center. It's the pulse of Radha. The more we can come as grahastas and bring to this project, and the community will flourish. If it's a community and the mode of ignorance or passion, a little bit of mixture, then we'll take from the community, you know, we'll take. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. You know, Van Ashram is set up as a, you know, grahastas, congregation. We maintain the temple. Oh yeah, we help out with service and what devotees are in. Actually, in the last room was all like, gosh, Jason, maybe you can help me on that one. There's probably 10 devotees that live full time, do service, like full time, and they're mostly around the farming aspects. There's like 10 devotees, not hundreds. Like when I first moved here in '88, I had a whole temple building. This wasn't here, it was dirt. The temple building next door, it was packed with family and kids. It was packed. Every freaking nook and cranny was devotees and devotee families, and the school was rocking and rolling. There's so much going on. It was really interesting, you know, how the dynamics. And of course, they had their problems and stuff, but everyone was focusing on serving, you know. And, if this community will do that, keep up and like now we got the temple feast and so much is going on, you know. The more we can contribute, then the project will expand and flourish and deepen, and our relationship will deepen with the devotees and the deities. So I'm just going to do the translation one more time. From the great lotus flower, Brahma was generated, but Brahma certainly could see nothing but the lotus. Therefore, thinking you to be outside, Lord Brahma dove into the water and attempted to find a source of lotus for 100 years. He could find no trace of you. However, from when the seed fructifies, the original seed cannot be seen. Does anybody have any comments, corrections, thoughts, anything to add to this? We'd love to hear from you. Please feel free. It's pretty quiet out there.
Did you say that pure devotee has OCD?
Oh, it's an interesting question.
That should begin to repeat that.
Did you
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
check it out? You can find it says, does a pure devotee have OCD? No, of course not.
Forward compulsive disorder.
Oh, well, that's dovetailing. That's dovetailing. Well, that's spiritual OCD. Yeah. I mean, that's why we know everything here is a reflection. I mean, we've read so many times that everything here in the material world is a reflection of its purity in the spiritual world. Like when I read the Nectar of Devotion and Nectar of Instruction and Prabhupada come about, I had a hard time with understanding how is one of the facets of love ghastliness. Like ghastliness is like, I remember reading that quite a few times, like, well, I don't get that one. But, it started making sense, when I started, I don't know, something turned around the corner for me at one point. I don't know what it was, what made that happen, but ghastliness. It's like, you can see it, Radharani. Anyway, it's really deep, So yeah, spiritual OCD. And because of that, that's all, it's interesting, like Kamsa. Kamsa, on all regards, he should be considered a Mahabhagavat. Always thinking of Krishna, constantly. I mean, those pastimes where it's really lovely pastimes where he's giving some prasadam, or I don't know if it's prasadam. He's eating, and he does a kamsa, and he's got this little bowl of dal, and there's 2 burnt cumin seeds in there. You heard about that pastime? There's 2 burnt cumin seeds in it, black. And he immediately sees it. And he goes, Krishna! And he takes his sword and boom! And he smashes he cuts the bowl in half, dal flying everywhere. It was like he had, unfortunately, he should have been he saw Krishna everywhere. But, Yogamai's like, here you go, So he was disturbed by the whole thing. So, so we're somewhere between that, we're somewhere. Depends on our consciousness. What do we focus on? Let's be spiritual OCDers, for the highest benefit. That's kind of funny. So OCD, yeah. Maybe someone can make an acronym and change that OCD to something else. But yeah. What do we do? What do we do here? What do we do with our mind and our heart? It's really important. Any thoughts besides transcendental OCD?
Which is more important, humility or desire?
Oh, that's nice. So Jagannath Prabhuji says, which is more important, humility or desire? Well, both. You have to have the desire for humility, isn't it? I mean, there has to be a desire to not be satisfied with the status quo, find our comfort zone. That's what, as Grahas says, I have, I tend to try to find the path of least resistance. In other words, I want to find my comfort zone in Krishna consciousness. So I can, that's what Grahasthahood is really like. It's good. It's a very important part of the ashram system is find where we can be firm and fixed and rise above and keep going. So as long as we don't just like cruise because we're really just sliding. If we get that mindset, we just cruise, we're sliding slowly. It's not a good thing. But if we constantly with desire, like you're saying, if we have desire to, you know, like I was reading, I didn't bring it with me. It's in the Samadhi, your Gurudev talks about surrender on page 64. You have that with you? Oh, you don't have that book with you? So I thought you were reaching down like, oh, it's like, can you pull that up really quick? It's in surrender. Okay. It's so powerful. It's like I try to go in there every day and pull up that book and just give my triple obeisances to Maharaj and then pull the surrender book out. And it's like, okay, what do I need to read today? But huh? Yeah, I don't, it's just, well, he said surrender. He said, without humility, our Krishna conscious endeavors are fruitless. Something like that. Almost word for word. Without humility. So we go through the motions. We do everything as a devotee. We got the circle here. We've got the spiritual culture. I mentioned quite a few different times. I think since I've been here, we have everything here. We got the greatest songs, the greatest food, the greatest incense. We got everything to occupy all our senses. The Bhagavatam, everything's here. And we got that cup, the cup, the foundation's there. So what do we put in the cup? What do we do? What's our exchanges like? What do we do in this cup? What do we put in that cup? And the cup is expansive. So desire. We have to challenge ourselves. I think that's how we can increase our advancement is seizing the moment. I hate that new age term, seizing the moment, being present. But Prabhupada talks about it all the time. So Prabhupada mentions it all the time. If seizing the moment, Krishna consciousness is what he's saying, is that every exchange I have with you or anybody, even a so-called unawakened devotee yet, we can learn from that person. And we can, like, one thing your Guru Maharaj said, I read it recently again too, he said every day, and I think every moment, we should try to, what did he say? Oh man, his mind. Um, um, take inventory. What was my response? How did I respond to that? Or how did I communicate this to that devotee? Was it more goodness, passion, or ignorance, or was it mixed? Did it increase our attachment to Krishna, or did it neutralize it, or decrease it? How did we leave that from each other? And if we can just somehow, and I'm not there. Forget it. I know I'm not. I just get these reminders from like your Guru Maharaj, and we see each other. We're like, oh, wow, I'm not responding to this relationship. I did the best I could. you know so that desire to really, if we want to advance, is to seek that moment and not just sit in our ignorance and our lack of humility, Shikshastakam, you know, it's all there. It's all there. You know. What do you think?
Well, I'm just wondering the difference between being humble and doing humility. It's
The razor's
I would say
edge.
that it's easier to miss if we have a strong desire. And the humility will manifest and will actually be humble.
Exactly. Well,
Doing humility, that is something supposed to do like this to be humble, or something humbles us.
yeah.
So genuine humility, not a strength, comes when we actually have a desire, strong desire to love Krishna and love. Then it's just not a, it's nothing but force.
Yeah.
It's
You should be talking to this actually. I don't think anybody can probably heard what you said. You're talking about humility and the desire for humility will increase. Yeah, desire for Krishna, exactly. Well, like probably remember how Srila Prabhupada said that that's what the rules and regs are all about. I mean, Lord Chaitanya even, he said, don't follow the rules and regulations, simply follow the rules and regulations. They're there to, there's a foundation that's established. These rules and regs are our foundation. So you can take off from there, you know? So, and also Srila Prabhupada said, it's basically fake it till you make it. Okay, if you don't have humility yet, who does? I mean, I don't. I know. It comes out all the time in my exchanges with everybody. It's like, oh God, that was pretty pathetic on my part. You know, what can I learn from this situation? It's like constant. It's like, wow, but yeah, fake it till you make it. But we've got it all there. We've got it all. We've got everything here. We have all the tools. And we just have to unpack it. We just have to unpack it, dust it off. That's why we need each other to dust off the concepts are there, the beliefs are there, the understanding is there, but we forget every day. Every time we wake up, it's like, oh, I always have this saying. It's like people get tired of hearing it sometimes, but in our programs in the temples we used to run in the past, every morning, every night, we start, I say it to here in the morning time, pop my head in the door, and thus begins another blissful challenge in Krishna consciousness. And at night, thus ends another blissful challenge in Krishna consciousness. And we have to remind, and we wake up, and they're like, oh, yeah, good japa, back to the foundation. Then I can spring forth for the day, always challenged, always challenged. Any other thoughts? Nobody else, nobody questions, no comments, anybody out there? Anyone speaking to the master? Okay, hold on a sec. Here. Can you want to hold this so they can hear it?
Speak about deserve and desire.
Ooh, deserve and desire. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Deserve and desire. Deserve and desire. Well, if we take that's such a deep concept. I mean, we don't deserve, on one level, we don't deserve squat. We don't deserve anything because we're such rascals. But Lord Chaitanya comes and just blows the doors open and allows us to somehow reserve the desire to deserve. He's giving us the opportunity to cultivate a positive desire, every desire to serve, you know. Then, which comes first? Chicken or the egg? Deserving, but we don't deserve anything. But yet, we deserve everything. And that's where Lord Chaitanya comes in picture, just like, you remember we say that. It's like that. So many Hindus, we meet out there and, they don't like to worship Krishna so much because he takes everything away, gives pure love. They don't want that. They want to worship somebody else for some benefit, something or other. Most Hindus. This is the ones I'm associating with in the past, where I see a lot, even here, you know. But desire, you know, deserve to this. We have to desire to deserve too. And if we just do in our approach, probably say, if you just cooperate, if you let me just cooperate, that's really basic. Just cooperate. Let's get along. We can't, like Christ said, Jesus is saying, forget the 10 Commandments. It's just follow 2 of them. You can't follow the other 8. Just follow two of them. We can't even do that. You know, it's like, wow. So to deserve and deserve to desire, we have to earn it. But this causeless mercy too by Guru. Causeless mercy by Guru can just change all that and drop. An awakening can happen. That spontaneous blow. Boom. And all of us have had that. We wouldn't be here. None of the devotees would be here in this community. Nobody would be in such an aspiring consciousness if we didn't have some glow up at some point in the beginning, the middle, the end, whatever, something, or repeatedly, you know, some mercy, drop of mercy from Guru just blows open some door. You may wake up on one morning. It happened to me in Hawaii. That was my latest one in Hawaii. I was like, what am I doing? And I made huge changes. Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Sadhusanga Ki Jai, Bodhisi Ki Jai, Hare Krishna. Everybody's it's that push the button. Oh, oh.
John, you know, John, problem, Chama Bhakya, Jay Avijat Kinata Gate, Latia, Vigada, Hakarito, Adamajanaka, Travel Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jaya Raja, Jaya Raja, Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Pari, Jaya Jaya Krishna, Jaya
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya.
Shama Radha, Nita Govardhan, Shri Radha Damodar Ki Jai, Shri Radha Damodar Ki Jai, Shri Radha Damodar Ki Jai, Lady Vishaka Ki Jai, Gita Nagari Dam Ki Jai, Gita Nagari Dam Ki, Gita Nagari Dam Ki Jai. Tulsa Maharani Ki Jai, Divinity Ki Jai, Ki Jai, Ki Jai, Shama Distribution Ki Jai. All glories of Sama's devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories of devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories of devotees, Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Gauranga. All glories to your power. Hare Yeah, so Carolina, you're like Ren, and he's a little. I got a challenge with this last for. So I got her calling my mind down and you hear it something in the bottom. It's called where you're out there. Yeah.
I didn't know it was there. So I was so conservative. After that, it's like lifetime acceleration. It's 6 months from birth. And then I hit some limits and not. And it's that information. From that, when I'll send you, right? Hey, back home. And it's the mountain. You've actually come like in the land. Yeah, it's friends. Yeah, they did something with them. Well, you're so this is why I didn't think about that. The most of the thing that is what we have is all right. It has. Must have been some like tree rivers, but they're not so yeah. So I just I was there. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, she person was there. Fine, didn't fast. That's what we were. So, there you go. That's years. Not far from the Paris. I mean, literally, when you walk with 5 minutes, it's so better than the street. What is this? The bed? Yeah, if they're not, there is. But James like it has they can be a release. Yeah, that's like this, they go. So must be so so I decided to go take it for this thing. And it's smaller around yeah. Yeah, that's it. Community council. So they had house it off for their building. And we had your medical inside. Well, possibly. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's if I see this, yeah. So, do some side of that. Yeah, but yeah, it's forwards. That's all top of the and then it does stage. Loading. And it had a temple and then it was maybe not based in yeah, it's just like some weird me. Yeah, I mean, I was curious. It's right there. You know, it's good to have. Feel everything up. It's like very often all this farmers do things how nice it is in Scotland. That's fair. We got to the party, yes. Yeah, it's interesting now, but I'm expecting we're going to Princess and it's like, this is just more interesting. Yeah, actually, I have to start. You're going to have a severe reasons you going about and now I think this is out. And this, yeah, we get rid of option. You know, and so on. Yeah, I did go back. This is part around the lost big house and yeah, just give that as a living. Just notice stewardship is a lot. Just yeah, I know outside. That we still have to live in that. I had to be a lot. And you said the only six. And then I went back and that's this fights the coming. It's well, creation. Yeah, was she cultivating even that plan? Solid, I knew. Was it incense or were you guys more related to this? But it was after I came back. No, you were still enough of it. So, so yeah, as long as it's yeah, it is. This job. Nice. Wow. Saturday night, yeah. I was gonna meditate. I was looking fervently. It's like, oh no. Okay. I was looking fervently at me, like, oh, the flower. I know you dress around, run down.